Peace, 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 peace. All right. So today's video is going to be a little different. Honey, I'm a little nervous. Okay. First off, I hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. If not, do understand and get that your day is going to get better once your perception gets better. And so I have my oldest, the boom boom here, who is 17 years old, my oldest daughter, JAYDA. And today's video is about how we started healing our mother-daughter relationship. Let me say this, okay? We still healing, okay? And one of the things that I know we hear a lot, that there's no blueprint of how to be a parent, right? And one of the things that I felt was, when I was growing up, I never wanted to be like a hierarchy, right? Like oftentimes you may have heard your parents probably say, you know, they the adult, what they say is what they say goes. In other words, you may have thought that in your eyes, you may have thought like, oh, you know, my mother or father, or my guardian, they never could do anything wrong. And I never wanted my children to feel like, you know, I'm exempt from anything that I tend to do, right? Now, oftentimes I may have done a lot of stuff, right, to them, but it was from the intent of, you know, how I was raised. And when you are a parent, right, it's not, or even to, you know, the children that's probably watching this, it's not that your parent is doing it intentionally, like, you know, whatever it is, whether it is from whoopings, right, getting whooped with the belt, or from them saying certain things that may have hurt your feelings. It's never like their whole intent is, you know, like, I just want to mess my children's life up, right? I don't believe that. I do believe that it's all programming, is paradigm, and I'm not justifying it, but how could you do something that you never was taught, right? Like, we do what we was taught. So I'm going to let my oldest daughter chime in.
Okay, so,
how was your experience growing up with me?
at first it was good.
Elaborate.
Like, the things that we used to do, childhood. Well, in my childhood, it was good. I had a childhood. That's what I can say. Behind closed doors, it was different though, cause like you don't really know what every family has behind closed doors. So outside it was like a nice happy family, and then inside doors it was just chaos.
All right, elaborate.
Like the whoopings. And, the whoopings, they got extreme as I got older. Well, as we got older, they got extreme. Yeah.
Keep on going. So, what did you
learn?
I don't know if I want to say, like, what did you learn from me, like, from your early stages? Like, how did you feel about me being your mother, like when you was younger, like, and then as you gradually like started becoming into your teenage years, like, how did you feel about me being your mother?
Okay, so in my childhood, right, like before I became in my teenage years, everything was fine. But then when I came to my teenage years, I started rebelling.
How did you feel about me being your mother?
In general?
Like when you was younger, like when you was like, you know.
Well, I didn't really have, like, it wasn't, like with the whoopings you're talking about?
The whoopings, everything.
Everything in general, everything in general, I felt like you was doing the best that you could have.
Really?
Well, except for the whoopings part, you didn't have to.
All right. All right. So, I never thought that she felt like I was doing the best that I knew how. I know I had an ex of mine who used to be like he would oftentimes say stuff, and it was like just pertaining to their relationship, and he would say things like you shouldn't do that, and I would be like, you know, I've always been this way, and I think that was like more so of a defense mechanism, and like later I started changing. One of the things I'm gonna say about the whoopings, I know, you know, especially I don't even want to say in a black community, because I have done rideshare, Lyft, and Uber, and from the conversations that I have had with some of the passengers, they were white, right? And some of them would talk about, you know, how they would grow up, you know, getting whoopings and stuff like that. I used to always think it was just like a black thing, right? But that is not true. And one of the things that I do remember is hearing, like, once you get past culture, people are generally the same. So when did you see like the change, like in my attitude? And also, why did you start rebelling? Because my oldest daughter, she ran away. So I want to give context to the mother or father that's out there growing through it, you know, they teen. I don't want to say trouble teen, because I think like when you be like, oh, my trouble teen, I think that's like more of what you're going to get, because if you constantly give energy to something, that's what's going to constantly keep manifesting. So why did you start like rebelling and, you know, running away, like talking? She would, honey, she would be talking back up in here, okay? Like why did you start like rebelling and stuff?
Where was it? I know. Well, it was because mostly because of people I was hanging around in 6th grade, because that's when it all started, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in 6th grade, the people that I was hanging around, and then that's when you changed. You started becoming more spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't run away in 6th grade, though, right?
She didn't run away in 6th grade. Like, that was later on. And let me say this also. My daughter, she said, like, that's when I changed, when she was in 6th grade. What happened was I started tapping into spirituality, like getting, I guess, like, start remembering, like, certain things that did not make sense. And some people think like when you have your spiritual awakening, it's just gonna be like, right? Like you meditating and all this other stuff, and then you may not revert back to your old ways. To me, that is like a disbelief. That's not true, because it's programming. In the first stages, you're gonna be excited because it's like, oh, you know, like I could see past the illusions, but you may start reverting back. Okay. I don't want to keep on talking. I want her to.
Okay. So then I started rebelling in like 6th grade, 7th grade. I would say it got a little worse. In the 8th grade, it was just chaos, right? And in 8th grade, I think I ran away 8th grade, and then I started when I came back, like from the last time I ran away after the other time, So then, after I came back, I had like an incident that happened that started making me really rebel. So then, and then that's when you started being strict on me too, right?
Yeah. So my whole thing was, you know, like being. I felt like the friends that my daughter, she was hanging with, like, and I oftentimes would say they was a bad influence. Like, we've been through therapy together. I even was trying to send her to a program, because it was one time that it was like really, really getting to the point where as though I felt like, you know, I could not deal with it. It was like really stressful. And I remember my daughter, she had this therapist who was really, really cool. And the therapist would come and pick my daughter up. They would talk, and the therapist, she was of color. So that was like one of a good thing, because I felt like she would be able to more so relate to my daughter and let my daughter know like how it was when she was growing up and stuff like that. I started becoming even strict. Like, I was strict already, but I became more strict, I feel, because, like, I felt like, well, if I become more strict and more on top of her, that she's going to change, right? But that did not happen. It really didn't happen. So tell the people, like, how you felt the times, yeah, like at the times, like when you ran away, and what was your thought process?
When I ran away, I had a plan. The first time I ran away, it was just to like stay out and then go back home. The second time, where did I go the second time?
To Jersey City.
Oh yeah, and then no, the last time I ran away, it was like I would smoke, cause yeah, so I would smoke to get my mind off of like certain situations that would pop up in my head, or like just to get away from reality in a case. And when I did that, each and every time, each and every day that I ran away, my main thing I kept thinking about was Howard in school, because I wasn't going to school at that time. And yeah, because I don't know, I just kept thinking about going to school, and because I wanted to finish school before anything.
Yeah, so tell them like what grade you in, and like when did you start changing your life around? Like what was there an event that made you start changing your life around? Like what was it that you was like, you know what, like I'm a change?
So I'm in 11th grade, and I didn't start changing my life around until just recently, right? Just recently I started getting my head back on track on setting the goals that I wanted to be set and successful at. So what made me change is, it wasn't an exact like a simple like event, but I just kept thinking about, because the main thing I really do, well, not main thing, but I do like from time to time is smoke and get high. So
well, tell them what you get high, what you use when you get high.
Marijuana. It's not a drug. It's not a drug.
Okay, finish.
It's not. So I smoke marijuana, and then it wasn't like, okay, how do I put this? It wasn't like in a specific event or thing that made me want to change, but it was the fact that I didn't like how the results I was getting from life, so I wanted to do something better. Because from time to time I caught myself saying, oh, school doesn't matter, I don't need to finish school, this, that, and the third. And then, but I always liked school when I was little. Even if I was sick or hurt, I would want to go to school. So it didn't really make sense. So I started planning. I started setting the planner, putting up my goals, doing pictures and everything to manifest what I wanted. And I still want to go to Howard, and I'm
still going to Howard.
I'm still going to Howard. I'm going to go to Howard in 2024. Yep. And then well, wouldn't it be 2025?
Yeah. Well, yeah, sort of.
2025, 2024. And I got my mind back on school. I go to school now, and yeah.
But what was it?
I feel like
that you seen, like, you know, the people that you said, the people that you was hanging with, was there like Like,
yeah,
was
they
there
play a
like one
part.
day where as though you was like, man, like what I'm doing here, like who I'm hanging with, like why I'm being around these people? Like, was there any like that time, or was there more so like I just need to, start doing the things that I need to do for Jada?
It was a couple of times that I had that when I thought, like, because one thing, like when I got high, um, I I kind of like think about life and everything in general, like go deep into thinking, and when I do that, it's like for me, I put two paths. Like if I keep like they say when you keep doing drugs and then you want something more, so then you start doing other drugs. But I don't do no other drugs. Well, that's not even a drug. But and then I said, or should I finish school like everybody? Because I used to watch YouTubers, and they used to vlog when they was on campus, and I just want I. The main reason why I wanted to go to college was to get the experience. Because before I was saying I don't want to go to college because everybody was saying college, like don't really spend your money on college.
All right. So, like I said, I really wanted to do this video because I know there's probably some parents out there that's looking for hope. I'm gonna tell you guys a few of the things that I had stopped doing, right? Because I do believe that sometimes we contribute to, we don't have no control over what our children do, and our children don't belong to us, right? I like to say they just came through us. One of the things that I used to do, I haven't done this in a while, but ask your child like how they feel about you being a parent, right? I think a lot of times like we had this misconception. We like, well, I'm doing a really good job, and it could be something completely different than the way your children see it. Their perspective could be like, you doing a crummy job, you doing a lousy job. And I think like it's a team, right? It's a team effort. Like you gotta make the effort too. And one of the things I seen too within myself, like I had to change just as well as my oldest daughter. So it's not like, oh well, when you gonna get yourself together? It's like, Dina, you got to do work on yourself as well. That's one of the things. And then another thing, I would talk about my daughter, because when you upset, you want to vent to people and tell them like, like let me tell you about what she did and how she keep on doing the same thing. That's something that I stopped doing because I started realizing that the more I give energy to it, and you may be like, yeah, but girl, I gotta just tell somebody I'm sick of this. I'm not gonna hold this in, whatever, because I'm not asking you to hold it in. But what I'm saying is the more you keep on giving it energy, the more it's going to keep on escalating. That's another thing. I remember it was a group program that was like through the courts, because I had called the courthouse because I was like, something need to give. Like my oldest daughter, she was, and the lady at the courthouse, she pretty much was like, oh, is a program you could do, is every Thursday, is what, other parents as well, they talk about their children, how their children, did and all this other stuff. But my intuition was like, don't be a part of that program, because if you keep on talking about it, it's going to keep on escalating. So those are some of the things that, I stopped doing. I also, you guys know, I always recommend a book, right? And this book is The Mastery of Love. And it basically talks about like how we were like domesticated as children and how we tend to do some of the things that we do in our lives. And if you don't start working on yourself, you just pass it down to your children. I want to say this is an ongoing thing. I never want to come on here and put up this facade like we have everything figured out, because we still learning and we still growing. Also, what you have to understand too is, I'm gonna give you guys a backstory too. of, when I was dating Jada's father. So when I was dating Jada's father, it was like a lot of abuse, right? Like I went through like a lot. And sometimes I think that play on the relationship, right? Oftentimes you're like, well, I'm not gonna take, my frustration out on my child. I think sometimes you may, like, if you have a certain relationship with the child's father, like some type of resentment, you may take that out on your child. And it's not like you doing it deliberately, like you doing subconsciously, like you doing it, right? Psychologically, like you doing it. And I had to forgive like her father, because one of the things that I start realizing, if he knew better, like he definitely would have done better. And my child is not responsible for, the decisions that her father made or the decisions that I made. And when I decided to have children, it never was like, oh, I want to have children because, I want somebody to love. It was always like a selfish reason. Like, I want to have children because, I want them to love me, because I didn't love myself. So I had children because of, wanting somebody to love me because I didn't love myself. So is there anything else like you want to talk about, like before we wrap it up?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. All right, family. So I hope you guys got something out of this. I really wanted to do this video because, like, I know, when you raising teenagers, right, they have a mind of their own. And sometimes you have to allow them to do certain things to experiment, because you can't stop them anyway. Because I done tried, honey. Lord knows I done tried, okay? But I had to start surrendering. I had to stop putting up the resistance. Because the more I was like, don't do this, the more I created like all these rules, like, don't do this, don't hang out with that person, don't hang out with that person, or you can't hang out with that person. By right, we telling the kids a lie, because we like, you can't hang out with that person. And the truth is, yes, they can, because once they leave your house, they're going to be most likely with the person you told them not to hang out with. And the more you say don't hang out with that person, I remember as a kid myself, right? Like, I ran away, and, so my oldest daughter started running away. And I'm not saying like, that's why, but I remember when it was strict in the house that I was living in, and how, I couldn't pretty much do anything. And I'm grateful for that experience, because I know the reason like why my family did it, and I'm not justifying it, but I so wholeheartedly believe that we was born into families for a reason, and oftentimes is to break generational curses and to learn how to start like healing ourselves and see what our mother or father may have done, and not to be like, like to hate them or resent them. But if you grew up from all those belief systems, sometimes you may start doing the same exact thing your mama and your daddy did. And so now you could get an understanding like, well, this don't work. I need to do something better. And it's for you to decide if you want better. But the choice is always up to you. So with that being said, I catch you guys on the next one. This was really good. Oh, you have something else to say? Okay, go ahead.
Do not whoop your kids. It hurt us more than it hurts you. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if there's...
No, it hurts us, the kids, more than it hurts you guys.
Elaborate on it.
Physically, well, would it be physically? Yeah, physically it hurts us, and a little bit of mentally.
When you say mentally, what you mean?
Like, at that time, it feels like, how can I put this? Not like there's no love, because it is a such thing as love taps, but they're not really love taps. They're just taps, right? But when you, what do you get out of whooping kids?
Well, let me say this. My two youngest children who are 7 and 5, like I don't use the belt with them. I don't whip them. I may even to this day, and I want to get out of the habit of saying it, but sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna go get the belt, and I think it's still like it scares them because I never whooped them with the belt. But when I used to whoop my children, like, use the belt and stuff like that, what I used to get out of it was they gonna listen. And I think it was more so like a fear tactic. Like, I'm gonna whoop them so they won't do this. But what I often seen was they may not do it in front of your face, but then they become sneaky about it. I'm not saying like they're not gonna be sneaky, if you don't whip them, but they became like more sneaky, about it. And I don't want my children, I don't want them to fear me. Because it's like if they fear you, it's like how you really have a relationship or somewhat, right? Like if your children is fearing you. So that was my whole concept. And it was something that, I grew up seeing and I grew up getting. So that's why, I did it because I was like, this works. And a lot of times we see probably things don't work, but we like, well, my mother and my father, and my guardian, they did it for so many years. And, so let me do it this way. Although you kind of see that it don't work. So you got anything else to say?
I was about to say something, but you made me forget.
That's it. All right, family. So make sure you guys leave comments in the chat and let me know, if you guys want us to do another video together. And, yeah, we catch you guys on the next one. Peace.